Welcome to Beaver Tank. We are so excited that you are here. But before we kind of get into the event, we do want to recognize that one of the pillars of our community did pass away this year, right? Professor Robert, who is just such a strength of entrepreneurship at MIT, was one of the first to teach entrepreneurship at MIT, provide research around entrepreneurship at MIT, and is one of the fathers of the Martin Trust Center for MIT Entrepreneurship, passed away this year. So if you don't mind, can we take a small moment just to, a moment of silence in respect? Thank you. I hope that during that time you thought about how entrepreneurship touched you. And hopefully you can continue those conversations today. So, by show of hands, would love to see who are entrepreneurs, who are in organizations today trying to make waves. Come on, let's see you, let's see you. And look to each other, because you all know how hard entrepreneurship is, right? Entrepreneurship is hard. So try to see who else is doing it and connect and be like, so tell me your war story and your war story. And guess what? You will learn something. Who are entrepreneurs? Raise of hands. Okay, look around, make sure that you guys connect with each other. All right, who are amplifiers? Who are amplifiers trying to make waves? Okay, I saw some really amazing amplifiers over there. Make sure you find them. Amplifiers over here, okay? Amplifiers back there.
Jenny, define amplifier.
An amplifier is someone that isn't specifically building a venture per se, but they are trying to enable their ecosystem to flourish. They are trying to connect. They are also trying to, just kind of talk about what events are happening and try to create more events within their ecosystem to support more connectivity. Does that help? Yeah? Great. And you might cross into different groups here. And then who are investors? Investors, okay? Make sure all the entrepreneurs find them, okay? All right. Over to you.
All right, everyone. My name is PEREG. This is Jenny. We're really excited to having this event for the 7th time, for us for the 3rd time. And what are we doing here today, actually? Isn't it so appropriate that the way that we wrap up the content portion of the MIT Sloan Reunion is by celebrate entrepreneurship? Because in the end of the day, our Sloan experience was about how do we address problems, how do we challenge ourselves, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, and that's what we're going to celebrate today. The people from our community that did the not so rational choice to become entrepreneur and took upon themselves to address problems. We're going to talk today about problems that are really massive, like plastic pollution and the challenge to grower productivity in agriculture. We're going to talk and we're going to learn about this problem as we're going to celebrate these entrepreneurs. Jenny, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of that?
Thank you for asking. Well, here's the thing, guys, right, is that we want to show you practical examples of how people have listened to the MIT mission and are putting it into practice. And so, little reminder for you here, right? On that wall in E62 that we will see during our C function, it says, to be principled, innovative leaders who improve the world and in doing so contribute ideas that advance management practice. How are you doing that today? And make sure that you're sharing that and celebrating that because you are part of this community and you took that mission to heart when you were here taking classes. And I truly hope that you are living that out as well. So with that, the idea is how do we take a problem and turn it into an opportunity? Because frankly, it is that frame of mind that switches to that entrepreneurial mindset. And we hope that while you were here, you got a small taste of that in terms of, are we building a strong community? Are we giving you the resilience so that you can have that entrepreneurial mindset?
And building a company within the community of MIT Sloan is a very, very special experience. I was lucky enough to have a company when I was in my 2nd year at Sloan, and I literally lived in the Trust Center. Not only that I took every single program, did all the pitch competition, my team members and I stored our inventory in this building. And we used a zip card parked in E62 to deliver. So we really were all in. But at the end of our second year, we've made the decision that we're not going to continue with our startup for various reasons. And we came heartbroken, in tears, to Bill Alette. Like, we're not, after all this investment you made in us, we're going to go take our corporate jobs. And he was like, great. Go find bigger problems to solve. You grew, you've learned, you developed. Just find the next problem. And that type of mindset is inspirational, and it kept with us. And for me, it took me 5 more years, but I went back and I found a bigger problem. Today, I'm the CEO of PollyLabs, and the problem we're looking at is how do we get tech innovation to solve the world's most big problems? Respectfully to problems like 15 minutes beer delivery, and being able to really, really easily share your cat stories. There are a lot of areas in the world where technology is still not serving its role. So we're a think tank, we're a venture fund, and we're thinking about how can we repurpose technology for good, build an existing technology that has already been developed to solve other problems. And what's really interesting is that I've started this organization 5 years after I left Sloan, out of New York City, and still, it's as if I never left. The first company I invited to incubation process, I met 2 years ago in this event. My first investor, an MIT alum. My first board member, my founder from MIT. This community is just so filled with the right people and the right innovation and the right mindset that it's just, it stays with you. And there is truly not better community if you're taking on a huge systemic issue, which is what we're all here to celebrate.
Exactly, and I think systemic issues change, right? And so for us, what we've been trying to do at MIT is really be responsive to the community. What is happening today and how do we respond to it, right? So kind of want to share with you a couple of updates. The first thing is, I don't know if you know this, but April 2nd is my birthday. That's important, no. The reason that I say that is because on April 2nd, the Discipline Entrepreneurship book, right? The one that Bill Alette published 10 years ago, newly published with new and expanded content. And the thing that I want to say is super exciting about that is that it has examples of companies that recently came out. And so we continue to celebrate. We continue to see the new companies that are coming out. So I welcome you to that book. The other is that we learned that, fine, great, you have your framework and you have your steps, but what about the tactics? What about the nitty-gritty of actually doing your first hire? The nitty-gritty of putting together your pitch deck and still getting up when somebody says no. So we also created a class called Venture Creation Tactics, and there's a book that came out with that content as well. So we invite you to take a look at that. The other piece is we did a 10-year study on Delta V company alums, and we have the report there. That also got published on April 2nd this year. So if you're interested, and particularly for my amplifiers out there, would love to share this report to you so that we can learn together how can we support this ecosystem in a way that sees the entrepreneur, not the company. And then the other thing I wanted to share is that, yeah, AI is big. It's happening everywhere. It's disrupting everything, including how we teach, which is great. I think that's an excellent opportunity for us. So what we have done is we've actually created an AI chatbot on orbit.mit.edu that walks students through the 24 steps. So for anybody that's taken new enterprises, you were like, fuck, that market segmentation is taking me too damn long. This gives you that first draft so that you can move much faster, iterate much faster, and get to that pancake that you're gonna burn much faster, which is super exciting. This year, we also partnered with the School of Engineering to do an AI Ignite competition. So it really pushed engineering students and business students to come together and pitch any and all idea that they had to just kind of get us going and get us creative in this space. And we continue to support women faculty. So we have this program where we are supporting women faculty that have labs and showing them how through partnering with MBA students, they can actually take their technology and translate it into a startup, which is super exciting. And if you want to know more about that, we're happy to tell you. And we continue to experiment with content. You know, for some of you in climate tech, we're actually experimenting with a class that helps people who are passionate about this area think how they would come up with business ideas around it. And so this is something that we're calling the Climate Dirt Road. You know, you don't know what you want, but you know what you're passionate about, and how do we get to an actual business idea from it? And then the other class is tech to market. So we are trying to be a lot more intentional about how do we partner with the engineering school and the rest of campus to show them the commercialization value is equally important to the invention value so that we can truly be innovative and continue to lead the charge with new ways of doing business from MIT. We are not derivative here, y'all. We are about new and creative solutioning. And I guess I'll close with talking about problems, right? Big, hairy problems. Well, I'm sure you all know, Ukraine, there's a war there. But what we've been doing at the center is partnering with the Kiev School of Economics to support an entrepreneurship bootcamp that they have. Because they know that the entrepreneurial mindset teaches you resilience. They also know that when this war is in the past, it will be entrepreneurship that will lead to the economic development of the country. And so this morning, I was with them, congratulating them on their demo day. And I'm just so excited that you're here to hear this stuff, and to the extent that we can continue to partner with you and how you can continue to pay it forward to the new generation of entrepreneurs, welcome aboard.
And pay it forward, indeed, is what we do today. So we're calling this the beaver tank, although probably more appropriate to call it the beaver lake. Unlike a tank, a lake is an ecosystem. It's alive, it can grow, it can be connected to other ecosystems, a little bit like MIT Sloan, within the MIT, within the Boston Innovation Area. So how is it gonna work? So we have 5 entrepreneurs here that are gonna introduce their startups. Each of them gonna have 3 minutes to give us their pitch with their slides. And I've heard the slides are really good, so. Then we're gonna open up the floor for questions. We're gonna have about 2 questions per founder based on the speed of the question asked and the answer provided. Jenny's gonna be here on the stage. I'll be on the crowdsourcing your questions. At the end of the event, the founders are gonna stay here, so if you wanna come, meet them, talk to them, ask them questions, please do. After that, we're all gonna go to E62 for C function and networking, so we can continue have the same conversation, but with a glass of wine. Are you ready?
Are we?
Let's do it.
All right. First up, JUAN. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is JUAN, and I'm a Sloaney 2014. Today, I'm going to tell you about LacTeck. My story with LacTeck started in 2015 when I had my daughter, Tao Tao. She's in the audience today, but I'm not going to point her out. So I decided to breastfeed because of the health benefits for both mom and baby. Unfortunately, it didn't work well for us. There were a lot of pain and tears from both of us involved. So unfortunately, I had to resort to a breast pump, a mom's frenemy. It looks like that. So basically, it's a vacuum machine that connects to this hard plastic flange. You put the flange on your breast, and it sucks the milk out. A lot of moms in the audience who are working moms might be familiar with this. And the fathers in the audience, ask your wife about it. So it's very painful, very humiliating when I was using it. So I started thinking, like, what should we do about this problem? So I created a soft flange that mimics the baby suckling motions when you pump. Here's how it works. So you can see here, it has a soft window that flexes when pumped, so it's much better than the plastics. Most moms report they find it more comfortable and they produce more milk in less time, which is important when you pump like 6 times a day. Here are some testimonials from moms and babies.
For 2.5 months after my first was born, and I had been using Spectra and the Spectra flanges, and doing pretty well, but I landed upon the LacTeck baby motion flanges, and it's honestly made so much of a difference with my supply. I didn't even really know it was possible. I was basically leaving behind a lot of milk. I was having to massage my breasts for all 30 minutes of pumping, but when I got the baby motion flanges, I pretty much don't have to massage really at all, and I get the same amount, if not more, than I would have. It's also much more comfortable. I honestly don't even feel that I'm pumping when I'm using them. So highly worth it, really, really like it, and would highly recommend.
Next one.
Hi, I gotta be honest, I love my baby motion flange. It is, it's really awesome because I started, my baby was born premature, and I started.
Okay, so I think we're running out of time, so I'll just say we have raving customer reviews. My next challenge is how to grow this company. I've taken it past the 0 to 1, and now I'm heading to the N. I'm asking for retail help, like getting to Target. I'm also looking for distributors in countries other than US, and also experts of PR and marketing, please help. Thank you.
Okay, who has the first question? Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
The question was, is it patented? Great. And
First
is
thing
it
I
fully
did.
patented, or are you in patent pending, or?
It's fully patented, issued.
Great, good. Other question? Go ahead.
It works with Medela and Spectra and a lot of other pumps. There are hacks for it, but definitely not for every pump, but major ones.
I'm curious, how did you decide direct to consumer versus a B2B? Or going through
B2B,
doctors?
the price point is not high enough to support the B2B distribution.
What's the price point?
It's $25 per pair.
Okay, yeah?
We do have a distributor in Vietnam that's doing well. I haven't actively reached out to a lot of countries. Mostly people come to me, but in my next 3 to 5 years, I'm trying to be proactively growing.
I love the developing country question. If you have a connection, let's make sure we make that.
Yes.
All right, next question. I think back there.
Thank you.
All
yes.
right, all right.
That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Next one? Okay. Okay, let's do it. Okay, Monica. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, class of 2023. I lead strategy and commercialization at CO2. We are a Dutch company doing ocean-powered, gigaton scalable carbon removal to address climate change challenge, as well as tackling ocean acidification. So in order to reach net zero by 2050, we need to go from today's levels around 45 gigatons of annual emissions all the way to net zero. So we need to reduce and decarbonize across all industries, but the UN, the IPCC, so Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, estimates that we're gonna only be able to do it until 10 gigatons, and then we're gonna need to eliminate the remainder. So here is where carbon removal comes. And at CO2, we do it with the ocean. Why the ocean? Mainly because of its scale. Not only 70% of the planet is covered by water, it is already absorbing around a third of all emissions. And most importantly, carbon is 150 times more concentrated in the water than in the atmosphere, making it a more efficient way of doing carbon removal. Our solution is direct ocean capture, and we only need seawater and electricity to remove CO2 from the water and consequently from the atmosphere. The way it works, we first use electrochemistry to produce an acid and a base. With the acid, we acidify a larger stream of water, and we shift the molecules of carbon present in that water towards CO2. Sounds very complex, but basically it's as if you add vinegar, an acid, to Coke. You will see the bubbles bubble out. That's the CO2. So we extract that CO2 with the help of vacuum. We then restore that decarbonized water and safely return it to the ocean so it can further take CO2 from the atmosphere where the problem of climate is. We also produce the CO2 and we sequester it permanently in either geological formations or utilize it into products such as concrete or doing alternative fuels such as green methanol. We have two potential business models. So on the one side, if we store permanently the carbon, we can sell high-quality permanent carbon credits to companies, corporates, and governments looking to tackle those irreducible emissions, that reminder I was talking about. Secondly, we can also use it in really key products to decarbonize key industries, such as green methanol, which is the key to decarbonize shipping. So far, we have demonstrated our technology. We are at technology readiness level 5, and we managed to end-to-end remove our first batch of CO2 already a year ago, May 2023, and mineralize it into concrete with our partner in the Netherlands, Pebble. Currently, we are building our pilot plant with 250 tons annual capacity, which will be located in the Netherlands. And lastly, we have already generated our first revenue by pre-selling high-quality customer credits to customers such as Klarna, the fintech platform, which are really visionaries in the carbon removal space. I work together with this great group of founders. This research was originated by Dr. Rose Sharifian's PhD in oceanic carbon capture and conversion from Technical University of Delft in the Netherlands, under the supervision of David Mermas, who's an associate professor in the electrochemistry department. So together with this team, we really have a great head start at this big problem. So I want to talk about two main opportunities in front of you. One is investment. So after 2.5 years of bootstrapping the company, we are currently raising our first seed round of 1.5 million to make that pilot happen via reality. And the second one is as customers. So if you work at a corporate that takes seriously climate action, you will need to be purchasing carbon removal. So if you want to learn how to do that, I would love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Questions? So I do have a question. So for people start thinking about your question. For folks that want to get into this space, can you talk a little bit about the recruitment process for you and how you found them? Because I think it's really cool that you found this company. Yes, a little bit of that experience.
I don't know if
I remember you like, I don't know, and it's just options.
I don't know if it's very applicable, but carbon removal is a very early, it's a small space. So the IPCC thing that I was talking about, that was in 2018. So it's really small space. I did my summer internship 2 summers ago at a director capture company when really the space was 2 years old. And then last year when I wanted to recruit, I just made a list of the 40 companies that existed in carbon removal in the whole world. And I blasted all the CEOs. And it worked out because people were curious to hear about my experience with that director capture leader. So really, I think just no shame and knocking on the doors is what I did.
No, I think that's great, because I just want to remind to anybody, right? It doesn't matter if you're 10 years out, 15 years out, like that approach always works. So exactly, no shame. All right, question right here.
So are there any negative impacts of releasing the decarbonized water, and how long does it take to get out?
Yeah. So the science still needs to understand some potential negative impacts in terms of if you do it too much, very concentrated, but it actually could help with positive co-benefits. So we are releasing a pH that is slightly higher, so less acidic than the water that comes in. So that can actually help with ocean acidification. So we do need to understand how to do that, and we need to work with academics in order to really understand the environmental impacts part, but actually it's a co-benefit. In terms of how much time does it take, it depends on the area. It can vary between 2 months to a year in order to do the full re-equilibration with the atmosphere.
Right there.
So in carbon removal, McKinsey estimates that this will get to 1.2 trillion market by 2050. So the way that that works is if you price carbon at around 100 and something dollars per ton, and we need to be removing 10 gigatons, then that's the market that you have.
There was a question I saw there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's really something that we need to it's the key for the scalability. It's our main input, so it's what we need. We need not only renewable electricity, but really to locate in places where there's abundant, because if we use the renewable electricity that a town could have used to decarbonize themselves, then it's not really a fair game. So basically locating in places where there is excess of renewable electricity. There's, so for example, Kenya has 7 times the geothermal power that it will ever need as a country. That could be an option. Iceland has also a lot of geothermal energy, and then, yeah, lots of different renewable energy deployments.
Wonderful, thank you. I know there's a lot of questions. Make sure to find her afterwards. BAYAZID, come on up.
Let me try to see if it works for me. Yeah, it usually doesn't. So yeah, quick show of hands if anyone knows what is special about this bench. Just the small tips, it's in Public Garden. Yes, exactly. So yeah, it's not an ordinary bench. It's the one from the movie Good Will Hunting, where Robin Williams tells Matt Damon that love isn't something that you can learn from books. It's something that you have to live and experience. Similarly, we think travel isn't just about seeing new places, it's about experiencing them. So my name is BAYAZID MALIKOV, and I'm the co-founder of Tailbox. Tailbox is a travel app. What we are trying to do with Tailbox is making the world alive. So you explore the unknown, unlock your freedom. So basically, these are some of the problems of the people that we interviewed, we found. One of the biggest problem of a traveler was the knowledge of the place that they travel. So it's like history, culture, understanding the history and connecting with the culture. What we are trying to do here is bring you closer to the place, to connect with the place. So what at its essence, what Tailbox is, it's immersive audio stories that connect you with the place. What we can do with this technology is create these immersive audio stories that can generate the voices of the characters all the way to the background voices, background sounds on the go. So this is just a quick demo of what it looks like, the app we're talking about. What we're going after museums. I'm just going to skip some of these slides because it's actually shorter than I imagined. So we are going after museums that are in the Freedom Trail. Freedom Trail alone sees around 4 million visitors annually. Yeah, these are some of the statistics that we found useful for the museum goers. So 80% of the Generation Z is interested in interactive experiences. That's where we want to focus on. So this is our team. Me and my co-founder are both internationals, MBA alumni now, 23. And we have a good team of diverse skills who can build this tool. These are some of the challenges we attended. We were part of the MIT Delta V. Even before that, we were part of the Start MIT and MIT Media Lab, learning and growing as we were experimenting with different things. So yeah, so far we've created stories in 20 different cities, around 2,000 stories, and we tested with 2,000 early adopters. Yeah, that's it. I actually wanted to have this one quote that I forgot, but let me try to remind myself. So yeah, as one wise man said, let me think. As one wise man said, yeah, it is. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was very important. Thank you.
No, stay. Well, my first question is, are you wearing the same shirt in that photo?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Same. There is a message here too, but like I think the audience is not there. Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, first question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So what we are trying to do is go after the museums. Museums are the places people, I mean, our target group goes to explore these stories. So they go there for 2-3 hours to experience these stories. What we want to do with museums is create these audio stories, build a platform for the museums, basically for free to acquire users. So it's like a way for us to acquire their users by giving them the tool that they can use to create these audio tours and create these experiences. So if you think of a simple museum, like they have exhibits and they need to change it every year, we can do it dynamically with AI. We're gonna make money by getting the discounts from the museum. And like think of 5 museums, right? Like we're doing cross-pollination among the museums and we have a subscription. So if the person buys the subscription with Tailbox, they get access to these discounts and the museums as well. The benefit for the museum is if you are interested in some specific asset in the museum, we can refer to you something else in a different place or a museum. So you're like the interest is aligned. So we bring the person who goes to Museum 1 to Museum 2 and so on. So yeah, like we actually experimented a lot there. We were trying to go after travelers, and it's actually very expensive to acquire these travelers to use the app. So what we thought is our target persona is someone who's interested in these hidden gems. So stories, where are they more concentrated in and where these people go? So it's museums. It's easier for us to access these users and acquire them through the museums instead of directly reaching out to them. Yeah, that's the part I forgot actually. So I need, I need connections with museums. So we're talking with, right now with 4 museums in the Freedom Trail. Any connections with museums in Boston, DC, or New York would be appreciated. And any travel organizations that you think would be part of this would also help.
And I think before we were talking too, you mentioned it's really hard to find a great marketing person. So, you know, if there's like a consultant of sorts, that you have a connection, that would be a sort of great marketing person in the tourism space, probably that could be something that could be useful.
Yeah, like a digital marketing person, growth hacker, that's where we lack in terms of skills. Everything else, I think we have a good team, but this is one thing that we're trying to learn ourselves now or hire.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next. All right, next up, JULIÁN. Come on up, sir.
Thank you. Hello, amigos. This is JULIÁN. I'm from Colombia, family of farmers, so it's great to be here. In AdaViv, we're doing a copilot for performance managing people in fruit and vegetable farms. I feel lucky, like all of you guys, to have been here in MIT, and I have met my co-founders, Ian and Mo. Great people, great professionals with the same mission of how we can make agriculture more profitable. We need to improve productivity 70% to feed the world. So the first thought that we have as MIT is robots. So we try to build automation to improve those farms. But we quickly realized that this is not an innovation problem. This is a scaling problem. It's a people challenge. So let's meet Rosario. Rosario is an average grower in Mexico that she needs to manage 40,000 plants or 40 people. So she doesn't have time. She will have to spend 10 seconds a day with each plant. That will be 100 hours a week just to know how the plants are growing, or she only have like 5 to 10 minutes per person, so she can be a good mentor. As a result, she's more a process management rather than a performance manager. So we are losing up to 40% because of pest and disease in our crops, and we have high rotation of labor, up to 30%. People do not want to work in farming anymore. So in AdaViv, we're building a mentor in their pocket. So Rosario has an assistant that can help her be a better performance manager. So we use computer vision, so she has now objectivity to grade people quality of jobs, but also to grade like pests and diseases in the plants. We use deep learning to better allocate resources every day in their daily of the farm. And we use LLMs so we can communicate this to farmers. Farmers do not need another dashboard. They just need the insight. And most of them are in WhatsApp, like in Latin America. So how can you hack that with AdaViv? So for example, in people management, we have been able to improve between 7 to 24% of productivity. How? We enable Rosario so she can track time, efficiency, but also quality. So she's able to provide a system that helps them to have better incentives and personalized training to growers. In plant health, it's about democratizing issue flagging. So you want to empower anyone in the farm to be able to geospatially localize a problem and also communicate what's going on so they can react faster. With that, we have been able to minimize crop losses up to 44%. So the planet needs a new way of farming. So in AdaViv, we're trying to hack this with artificial intelligence. We have been able to improve by 20% the cost per pound of those growers. With this solution, we have been able to grow 4 times our MRR in the last 7 months, and we're ready to tap an opportunity of $28 billion. Now, in here, I want to connect with you 2 reasons. One, we're raising a $1 million round. We already have like 50% of that committed, but I'm looking for capital that can help us to take this into Latin America, especially to fruit and vegetable growers. Second is if you're working in the supply chain, being in a CPG company, in a retailer that is looking to make their providers more sustainable, we want to talk with you because we think this is the way to scale in agriculture with collaboration so we can have a better future. Thank you, amigos.
That's so cool. One question that I have is, can you walk us a little bit around the product development process and how did you try to do some A/B testing in the fields, just some tactics that have worked for you?
Yes, perfect. Then, as I said at the beginning, we implemented robots, and the hypothesis was the need to predict failures in plants before humanize. Then the challenge in here is that this is like a risk function. So people have to buy only if they're fearing something is going to happen. So it's really difficult to implement. Then what we came out is, after this exploration, is there is a bigger problem on how to manage people on the field. Because those growers are managing hundreds of growers on the field, and people are lacks motivation. So on the way, we realized that the software that we built for managing plants is actually better for managing people. So we start to understand, like, okay, how we can use this system so they can actually build career paths for growers, knowing how good they work and how fast they work too. So it's a combination of efficiency and effectiveness so you can build a better system.
That's cool. Great way to listen to your customer. Go ahead.
How are you essentially entering data into the app so you can track and analyze?
Great, amigo, great question. So how do we add data, right? So there are 2 ways approaches. Like one is with the software, which is faster and scalable and adaptable, you empower middle managers. So you don't try to digitize the whole workforce because it's high rotation rate, so you empower supervisors. They are the ones entering, as they do today on pen and paper, now with an app, like how many rows do you work, defoliate today? And they use their phones to take pictures to grade the quality of the job. So with that, we're learning from how they're interacting with the system, who is working better or worse, so you can allocate the insights. The other approach is computer vision. So we're in parallel, like with R&Ds or grants, we're trying to test if we can automate a lot of these with security cameras that those farms have. So you don't need to have the middle manager collecting data, so he can become more and more from a process manager to a people manager person.
Beautiful.
Yeah, great question. Then I think it's 2 ways. Like the first one is The proof is in the pudding, as they said, right? So we usually run with them like 30 days to show them the value, and we try to quantify not only economic metrics, but social and environmental impact. So socially is about how you improve the productivity of every grower so they can earn more. So you are minimizing retention, you are maximizing retention rates while you're providing dignified jobs to growers. And environmentally, because you're addressing problems faster, you can optimize the use of chemicals on the field. So there is a chance to improve as well, like treatments utilization. So at the end, you ended up as well saving and optimizing your carbon footprint in the farm. So it's about giving them an holistic view from one-point solution.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Next up, and bringing it home, Stuart. Come on.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stuart PEÑA. I'm a Sloan of the class of 23, and I'm also the CEO and co-founder of MacroCycle Technologies, the venture creating circular plastics with zero carbon emissions. Today, we have a global plastic problem. Less than 20% of all the plastic globally produced actually gets recycled, with the remaining amount ending up in our landfills, in our oceans, or it gets incinerated. This results in 5% of all global CO2 emissions to be associated to the plastic life cycle. MacroCycle is introducing a solution to this problem, introducing the MacroCycle PET pellet, a high-quality virgin-grade plastic pellet derived from lower-value plastic waste that requires no green premium for adoption, and it comes with zero carbon emissions. A product that has allowed us to secure already 14 customer agreements, including some of the CPG companies in the Fortune 500, to test our products to prove that we can resolve their circularity pain points. So now, why are they choosing our product over what's available in the industry today? Well, most of the recycled plastic in the market today is mechanical recycle. Unfortunately, it is a downgraded product where it still has contaminants and color issues, and it is unable to be implemented back into fully circular solutions. The way they tried to resolve this problem was through advanced recycling technologies, where they break the plastic in the bonds all the way down to monomers, then to sell it through the petrochemical industry to produce the plastic all over again. Unfortunately, this is energy intensive, and it requires a green premium to be adopted in the market. MacroCycle solves both of these problems. Through our patented technology, instead of breaking the bonds of the plastic, we make new ones. We create a new intermediate that allows us to bypass all the energy-intensive steps to produce a virgin-grade plastic that can be sold at market rate at high profitability. And this is what it looks like. We can take plastic waste of any kind, including colored bottles and fibers, fast fashion, and we can put it through a reactor where we create this virgin product while removing the contaminants from the plastics to be re-implemented into rigid packaging applications as a drop-in solution. And our process requires 80% less energy compared to traditional means of plastic production. The remaining 20% can then be fully electrified with renewable energy to achieve recycling with zero carbon emissions. So far, we have gathered a pretty strong team with diverse experience from industry to academics in polymer or in organic chemistry, and we have surrounded ourselves with strong advisors that have been through this journey many times before. So we have the confidence that we have what it takes to get this venture off the ground. I'm also happy to announce that as of next week, we're gonna be commissioning our pilot plant that will have the capacity to upcycle up to 200,000 bottles per year, just half a mile away from here at the engine. But in order to operate this plant and be able to get the products into our customer hands, we're currently raising a safe round of $1 million from climate tech angels and VCs that can help us be able to hire on board the full team and deliver our products to validate that our product can actually solve our customers' pain points. This will lead into a much bigger price round as we then get ready for massive offtake agreements with all these companies. With that, if you can assist us in this journey as an investor, as a supplier of plastic waste, or as a customer of plastic, consumer of plastic, please reach out. As together, MacroCycle can create a cleaner, more circular future for everyone today.
Beautiful. All right, questions, people? Go ahead.
So we realized that in this market, there's been a lot of historicals, companies in the plastic recycling space have being unable to overcome the next hurdle of market validation. So in order to de-risk this next path, we are raising $1 million to cover the operational expenses of the pilot plant to be able to deliver product to our customers and have their letters of interest and validation that our product does resolve their pain points. That way we can raise a much bigger round to then scale up. We'll have de-risked the technology, and at that point it's just now de-risking the execution of how do we make it to industrial size and build our next plant to recycle 200 million bottles per year.
Beautiful. I think you're being really smart about how to build the leverage for the company. Yeah. Go ahead.
Are you collecting the, so let's say someone wants to use your pellets, but you need to get that back again. How do you get it back through the supply chain?
Indeed, so we are a recycling company, so we need to partner with the collectors and the sorters. So we're partnering with the municipality recovering facilities, but there's also companies out there that are collecting the plastic waste from their off-takers. And what they have communicated to us is that if we can take their plastic waste, they can collect more plastic waste, and they're being paid to collect that plastic waste. So by us coming to the market, we can actually incentivize and create a positive loop where we can create a constant supply stream of plastic waste from the companies out there that are collecting the plastic waste. One more question?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you mean the cost? Indeed. So right now, depending on the type of feedstock, it'll be different costs. If we have polyester, no one wants that as a plastic waste, so it's very cheap. And we have seen companies, they want to pay us to take it off the hands, but we're assuming a $100 per ton. If we're taking color flakes, it can be anywhere from $500 to $700 per ton. And then our operational expenditure and depreciation of the plant can range from $300 to $500 per ton. So with that, our cost minimum selling price is less than $1,000 per ton, with a market rate pricing of $2,000 per ton. If we charge a green premium, it's $3,000 per ton. So with that, we can see a pathway from 50 to 70% gross profit margins.
Great. I thought I saw a hand back there. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for the question. So we're starting with PET and polyester because something that we've noticed is that it's not only that it's difficult to recycle those plastics, it's that they're currently not being collected. And it's very difficult to create a market for recycling when you have to pay a massive premium for the supply ahead of time. So the way that we foresee this problem is similar to Tesla, where we need to just basically create incentives to be able to increase the supply of plastic waste. So by us coming into the market with PET and increasing the circularability of that specific plastic, we now encourage all plastics to be collected as we can pay more for that supply. And then down the line, we do plan to enter into the spaces. But you know, limited resources, let's try to succeed in PET first, and then we'll get there.
Great, yeah.
For us, it is a tailwind helping us. And the reason for that is, the reason microplastic is a fin is because it ends up in our ocean and it erodes over time, that ends up in our food stream. But the reality is that if plastic waste never ends up in our ocean, microplastics becomes a much smaller issue. And the way that we have looked at it, when many people told us is that you're encouraging the usage of plastics, why are you doing this? And what I've communicated to them is that I want them to think bigger. We don't have a plastic problem, we have a packaging problem. Everything needs packaging. And when you look at all the different options available, metal, glass, paper, plastic is actually the best solution for many different aspects. So if now you eliminate plastic from ending up in our oceans and not turning into microplastics or their associated emissions, plastic now becomes the most sustainable solution for the current infrastructure that we have today.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bar, come up here.
All right.
I think we did it again. Did you all have a good time? Come on, man! Look at what they're doing! Okay, good. Yes, so we want to take an opportunity to thank you guys. Thank you for presenting. Thank you for sharing. We hope that you find amazing people that can support you. Thank you for being an active audience and for engaging, because you got to support these entrepreneurs, man. This shit is hard, and we got to make sure that they know that they're doing amazing work. So thank you to all for being here. It's an amazing way to close the program. Any last words, my wonderful co-host?
Sure. This is an incredible time to be an optimistic problem solver in the world, right? I mean, this is a really challenging time to be this optimist, to say like, oh, I have this great idea, let's try something new, give me money, give me time, give me attention. Not quite. So it's all the more important that we as a community that understand the importance of innovation, know people have been there, will come together to support the people in our community that are doing it. Trust me, this is not an easy time to be a founder, especially not if you're trying to solve a really, really big problem. I think we all had this shared experience in Sloan where you're really future looking, you see all these innovations that's coming, you think about the future, you're filled with imagination and inspiration. And then as alumni, our day-to-day is not always that pumped with innovation and inspiration, just not that much. I hope that during this weekend and during this event, you got reconnected to the spark that innovation can bring, and you can leave this room thinking like, what is your role? How can you be of assistance? How can you as a founder, as an investor, as just a smart person, as well connected, be supporting of these founders and entrepreneurs, because we are gonna be really proud of them if we give them this support. So I wanna thank you all again. I wanna thank Patsy from the Alumni Office for pulling this event year after year so graciously and delightfully. I wanna thank Jenny and the MIT Trust Center that creates a house for entrepreneurs, and I can speak to myself, for entrepreneurs in the campus and for us that's still building years after. This work is amazing and it creates value for this community that's tremendous. So thank you all again. We'll love to see you at E62 for the C function, and have a great rest of the weekend.